Hello friends, welcome to my channel, Bless and Crochet. Today, you'll learn how to crochet this cute Christmas hat, perfect for spreading joy with a beautiful handmade piece. For this project I will use these 3 types of material. They're at home. You will select the materials you have close to home. And most importantly, that meet your nurse's needs. For this I have selected 3 different materials, because they are the ones I have here at home, and if I had the best of this material because since he would have used it, but it is not so. So it is that I'm going to use them this time with a crochet hook 4 millimeters, and we are going to use, for example, other colors we have at home. That are few. That we have to make the spheres. Yes. I leave the spheres to your choice. I will also use a tape measure, a rope for wool or yarn, our scissors, and we start this time securing this first stitch. And we will be weaving. What do you think? Yes, so that they can observe it at home. We do it with a lighter color, or in this case a color that is not so hairy, so that we can observe it. I secure my first stitch and make 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 and 9 chain stitches. I'm going to pass this chain stitch without knitting, and in the chain stitch that follows I make a single stitch. And I will continue then here weaving. Single stitch, and I'm going to take friends and friends. Only half of the chain stitch. To complete this, which is my number 1 round. And once my return is completed, this is my last stitch. I'm going to fasten it. I make a chain stitch and the stitch I held. I will knit only half of the chain stitch. Twist and knit a single stitch in the middle of the chain stitch. Stitch down half of the chain stitch, stitch down, and so on. I will continue to weave a single stitch. And in the end I will take this last stitch in full. And I'm going to knit stitch under a chain stitch. I take half of the chain stitch and start knitting 1 single stitch for each space until the end of my entire return. And the last stitch, my friends, look at taking only half of the chain stitch. And this last stitch is taken in full. And I knit my stitch under a chain stitch. This was the last stitch I made. I take a twist and knit half of the chain stitch again. Single stitch half of the chain stitch. Single stitch, and so on until the end. And the only requirement here, my friends, is that we are going to take half of it. But at the last stitch it must be taken in full. So, and this we are going to do until we get the of the little head of the person to whom we are going to knit it. And now I am going to pass on the measurements, in case someone likes to take them out. For that we needed our tape measure. Okay. How many are the? I've included a size translation chart for all measurements in the description. Look here, I have already the turns I need in this case. Look at this little round. This we have here counts as the first round. This one that is embossed counts as round number 2. This one is lower. Round number 3 is on top. Round number 4. 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15. And so on until the person is rescued. Who we are going to weave it with. This time, my friends, look at it. Remind them that we were going to weave it with this color, so that we could see it at home. But that we were going to weave it with this. Yes, well then we will have the reflection of the one with the little head of the person to whom we are going to knit it. And once you have the receipt, we are going to close. Now to close we are going to do the following. we are going to take, I make a chain stitch. I take half of my chain stitch from one side of the other and I make a slip stitch. Half of one side of the other and I slip from one side to the other and I slide, and I will continue like this. Closing. Here all my stitches go. It's that easy, look at my friends. And once we got this far, friends, to this space, this is how the part of our closure will look like. Now I am going to make the color change. I will continue. In this case, my friends, I will pass. And here I place my material, and right here, where was the closing, I am going to make a first single stitch. I'm going to settle down on this stitch and I'm going to stop by here, halfway. Here in the middle we are going to make a single stitch. Here in the relief, single stitch in half. Single stitch over the relief. Single stitch, and here they will be marked. Look friends, here one, here one, here one, here one, and one, yes. Then for example, if you did, let's assume 66 turns. You have to have 66 single stitches here in the middle, where the upside down stitch appears. Here on the relief. Single stitch in half. In relief, so yes. Good. I will do this until I complete my entire round. I'm just going to show them to you now. With the colors that will remain, which in this case would be these two VA. Once we are going to stay with original colors. On this occasion I have already finished my return, my friends. I will close here, where I have the stitch goes base with a slip stitch 1 2 3 chain stitches. And in this same space I leave a double crochet. 2 chain stitches, I'm going to pass 1 2 stitches without knitting. And in stitch number 3 I make 2 double crochets. 2 chain stitches, step 1 2, and in number 3 2 double crochets. 2 chain stitches. 1 2 stitches without knitting, and at number 3 2 double crochets. 2 chain stitches, step 1 2, and in number 3 2 double crochets. And I will repeat this until the end of my whole round. Once I have already finished this first round, I am going to make the closure here. Con slip stitch. And I'm going to do the following, friends. Here in this part 1 I'm going to make you a chain stitch, and here I make a single stitch. Half of the 2 stitches. Now I'm going to stop by, and here I have these 2 stitches. I will take the first one. So, and I'm going to start knitting about this first stitch. Let's knit it double crochet 1. In the same space. 2 of us are going to take it from below. And 6 double crochets, I will make a chain stitch. And now I'm going to take the stitch on the other side. But at the bottom, yes. This is how we have our stitch, friends, look at this. And I'm going to take it down here. And I'm going to knit him 1 2. I'm going to take out a little bit of material. And 6 double crochets. And this is how it will stay. Now I am going to move on to this space here, to the middle of these stitches, and I leave a single stitch. I'm going to stop by here to where I have these stitches at the bottom. Use 6 double crochets 1. And 6 double crochets. A chain stitch, and now I'm going to take it from the other side. Only at the bottom. And we are going to knit 6 stitches 1. and 6 double crochets. And I'm going to move on to the next stitch. And I leave a single stitch. And I will do this until the end of my whole round. Once my whole round is over, I will do the following. Here where I have the first single stitch, I'm going to make a slip stitch and upload in this case 3 chain stitches, and at this very stitch I am going to knit him a double crochet, 2 chain stitches. I'm going to spend here in the middle of this space. And I knit 2 double crochets, 2 chain stitches. Happen to me where I have the single stitch above the 2 stitches. And there I weave another 2 double crochets. 2 chain stitches. I'm going to stop by here in the middle of the motif. And I knit 2 double crochets, and I will continue to weave like this. 2 chain stitches. Now I go halfway between one reason and another, and where I have my single stitch, there I leave 2 double crochets. I will complete my entire round, and that's how I'm going to be halfway through then. On the motive in half of the motives. Between one and the other on the motive in half. And again on the reason. Let's knit that easily, my friend. The end of the round, my friends. Let's do the following. Let's give it a double crochet. Here in our latest chain stitch. Our third chain stitch. We make a closure but with a double crochet. So. And now in this. This is my beginning. Round number 2 is about to begin. Will be closed like this, and it is going to start. Taking the stitch at the bottom. And making the 6 double crochets 2, 3. And 6 1 chain stitch. I'm going to go over to the other side. But remember at the bottom. And we are going to knit 6 double crochets 1, 2, 3. 4, 5. And 6. And now we are going to be interspersed like this. Yes, we used to have here now in the middle one. Of one reason and another, we must have this one. New reason I pass and knit my single stitch. And the rest will be the same, friends. I'm going to stop by here. At the bottom. I take the period and start with 6 double crochets 2. 3, 4, 5 and 6 double crochets a chain stitch. And now on the other side. But remember at the bottom. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to take out a little bit of material. 4, 5, and 6, and I am still, friends, here. In the next one a single stitch. And I will repeat this until I complete my entire round. I have already finished, friends, and here is where I have this one. In this case, my first stitch is where I will end up. With a slip stitch or with a low stitch. Goes 1, 2, 3 chain stitches. And here in this same space. I am already starting to knit the double crochet. 2 chain stitches I pass in the middle and teju. Double crochet and double crochet 2 chain stitches. I pass here in the middle of one reason and another, and here I do. Again the process. And this until I complete my entire round. I'm about to finish my return, friends, and take a look. Let's make him. Henceforth the same process. For all rounds. Where I have my third chain stitch. I will close with a double crochet. And I start here at the bottom to knit. 2 to see how many we have. Continues. 3, 4, 5 and 6. The double crochet, the one who joins that one does not count, friends. And at the bottom 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and here. I make the union. And I am already interspersed. Then let's go weaving a turn. Sew in crocodile stitch or with these waves. And in which it follows. Remember that we are going to weave this round and this round. Let's always do the finishing with the double crochet. From now on, all rounds start the same to obtain the length that everyone needs. And return for closing. We will continue with the process, and for this, we will take into account the following measures. How much we are going to weave in this case. To start to decrease. For newborns we are going to make 11 centimeters. And we start with the decreases. For 3 to 6 months 13 centimeters and I start with the decreases. From 6 to 12 months 14 centimeters and we begin to decrease. From 1 to 3 years we will leave 15 centimeters and start to decrease. From 4 to 10 years 17 centimeters we begin to decrease. And for adolescents, let's start to decrease after 20 centimeters. For ladies 21 centimeters and first 24 centimeters. Then I am going to do in this case the 4 to 10-year-old one. Here I already have. In this case my 17 centimeters. And I can start with the decreases. Yes, now I have. In this case, let's see how many reasons I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 turns of motifs. For this next round, friends, we're going to upload our 3 chain stitches anyway. And the only difference here, we're going to leave a chain stitch. And then I'm going to move on to knitting here. As appropriate, we're only going to make a separation chain stitch. And then I go to the single stitch. And I knit the 2 double crochets. A chain stitch happened to me in the middle of the motif. So if you realize it's the same process, only a separation chain stitch only is what will change, my friends. A separation chain stitch. I will complete my entire round. Once my return is over, we are going to make the union, but this time with half double crochet. In a single time, I close and start knitting. Here it is not going to change. Yes, they are going to continue. Being our 6 double crochets we will have 3. 4, 5, and 6. Yes. So here in this part, my friends, nothing will change. I will continue to weave until the end. This round. And return to show you how it is looking on me. It will look very nice because nothing has changed so far. But I am going to show you how we can continue. The closure. Look at the step. I make my single stitch and they are still interspersed. Yes. Then I complete my return. This is the first turn of decrease and return. Now once finished, let's go with the next round of decreases. Starting the same here. But now we are not going to put chain stitches on it anymore. I am going to move on to the next space. And without making chain stitches I leave the 2 stitches. I'm going to move on to the next one. I leave the 2 double crochets. And where it goes, my friends. Let's weave the 2 double crochets. But there will no longer be room for chain stitches. Then I will continue to do so until I complete. Remember that this is the second round of decrease. Once my return is over, I will continue to weave properly. To be seen in this case. Come on, as we no longer have here in this part, my friends, chain stitch or anything. I leave a single stitch goes. And since we already have our single stitch, here we are going to start weaving the 6 double crochets. As appropriate. This round is going to be the same, only we no longer have the separation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chain stitch. And I leave the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I pass here in the middle of the space that follows. And I make my single stitch. And I continue on the other side. Yes, then if you look here no modifications are being made. Where the modifications are being made is in the separation of the reasons 2, 4, 5, 6. Chain stitch and I repeat yes. Then the motifs are still interspersed. I will complete my entire round. And now, after this round, we are about to start with real decreases. For this round number 3 of decreases, I make 3 chain stitches, and right there, I make the double crochet. Now I am going to pass this space without knitting and here, halfway where I have my single stitch. There I go back to making those 2 double crochets. Now I am going to pass this space without knitting. And here in the middle, let's make those 2 double crochets. I am going to spend this space. And we are going to make 2 double crochets. And so I will continue to weave everything around. Yes, then we omit all these spaces and only in between the spaces we are carrying out, in this case the double crochets. And this is turn number 3 of decrease. Here at the end, I'm going to go all the way here to this space. Here I am going to make a single stitch in the 3rd chain stitch. And that's when I'm going to start knitting. As appropriate. The rest we are going to do on this round. As appropriate 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see, I will resume. And 6, 1 chain stitch and on the other side I repeat process. 6 double crochets. I move on to the space that follows. And as it corresponds here to weave the single stitch. Well, here I leave my single stitch and I pass. Here on the other side, look at this is the one with the single stitch. I'll move on to the next one and as appropriate, my friends, we will no longer look here, whether or not they are interspersed. We will only be weaving how it corresponds 2, 4, 5, 6. And complete yes, then I will complete my entire round. Once my return is over, I repeat again, friends. The same process to be seen. Here I am done. And I am very close. But we are going to weave with the same reduction technique. I'm going to pass the reason. The unwoven motif. And I pass on the other side where I have my single stitch. And then we are no longer placing it here. Half the reason. Or in the 2 double crochets. In this case, now I pass this next reason without knitting. And here where I have the single stitch between one motif and another. There I place the next double crochet yes, then 2. This is how we are going to weave. Is the same reduction technique yes? I will complete my entire round. I'm going to knit the stitches anyway. Or the reasons accordingly. And I'll be back to show you how it has diminished. Sorry decreased with this last round. Here friends. I'm going to see if I can show you they have stayed with me. In this case, to see, I will see if it can be seen better. I have kept these 3 reasons yes. And where I am closing I am not. As I no longer have a space here I did it. Above the following reason. I made my closure here and I have a tiny space left. There I am going to close it here to this one in this part. And I can now remove the material. And so far this is what it looks like. What do you think? I liked it a lot. But we are going to do in this case. How we are going to decorate. I will be using pieces of wool to have here at home. And I will do the following. I'm going to leave you a tiny space. And I am going to make my first stitch. I make 1 2 3 4 chain stitches and in this first chain stitch. I'm going to start knitting. Undouble crochet 1 2. 3 4. 5 and they're going to be all high undouble crochet's friend. And finally, stitch number 6. And once we have all the stitches, I will close all the stitches. I assure you, and this is going to be my light. Yes, the little Christmas lights. This is how they will be. And here I retire. And this is how they will stay. Look. On one side how they look and on the other side how they look okay. Then I will place them here in the middle. Between one reason and another. I pass here in this part. And I place them. And look how they will look on me. And on the other hand, look here, they look super not super cute. What's next when you're super cute, my friends, are incredible, as well as they look. And on the inside, I can tie tightly. And with the help of our grandmother, we may lose these little pieces of wool. Or simply tie. Several times. We can tie them and then cut yes. In this case, what I am going to do is the following. I'm going to walk over here to the side. I'm going to pass this one around here a little bit. I'm going to stop by. And it's a little job. That maybe it will take us a little longer, my friends, but it's worth it. And that's how it's going to stay on the inside, and that's how it's going to stay on me. On the outside, and I'm going to intersperse it with colors. For example, it occurs to me now that I could be in the next one on Tuesday. And we place the here on this side, yes. And we are going to do the same here. In the following rounds. And so this is how I am going to do this process, my friends. And I'm going back to give it the final touch. I want to show you friends up to this stitch. Because we already have our beanie. We had realized that there was a very small space left. And I already have the star. Now if you missed the star, don't worry. Down here I will leave you how to make it and how to put it together. Because it is double, so it's super. And I leave you here in the first comment. If I miss it, please leave me your comment. I will be happy to send you the link. Now let's hit the star. But first let's close the hat. How we are going to do it. Let's close as follows. Let's move on to this case. Our smile up and down. It is up, now we pass it down. Where we are going to spend it here. Where we have such double crochets as. Then it is below. I pass it on to and I will then continue upwards. Downward. And let's go, in this case I can pull from here. And close completely. Yes, here already closed. And on the US side we may lose this little piece of material and let's go. I'm going to lose on side this little piece of wool. And return. Here we are going to glue. I've already lost those little pieces of wool and at the bottom goes. Let's look for what is the part of as the termination. This is my termination and then I will leave it to fit in the middle of my hat. And here I will plan how to place. In this case my star. Yes, then look. I left the seam here in the middle of the star. And I'm going to hit here in this part. My star, so then I pass. So I pass through the middle again. And underneath I pass. And I pass through the same space again. But we will only be holding it as of this space, my friend, but at the bottom, in case someone, you can't see it more or less, know how we are going to have a good time. So I pass and hold again in the same space. So that in this case, these parts of here. So get to see it goes. And was caught to see the whole star and on the other side. This is how it will stay. Well then, here I am just doing another little stitch. That it is not really necessary, but just in case, my friends, we are better sure. And at the bottom. Here I have already a stitch that was not. Now on the bottom. I can lose the little piece of material. And this is how my star will be stuck on one side. And this is how the star on the other side will stick to me. You saw how easy and how beautiful it looks. Well now, my friends. I'm going to lose the little piece of wool at the bottom, and I'll come back and show you how it turned out. The final result. I want to show you friends now how the final result has turned out of this beautiful Christmas hat. What do you think of how it turned out? Leave me your comment at the bottom. What they thought. Also remember that I already have another Christmas hat. I'll be leaving them here at the bottom. The link and not just the hat. Also of crowns and other Christmas decorations. In case you like to make them, is the right time to start to weave our Christmas projects. See you in the next video and many. But thank you very much for joining me today.